Okay, so it is 5 o'clock, so I will begin the Thursday, September 22nd Nantucket Conservation Commission meeting. This meeting is being held entirely remotely, so all participants are participating via Zoom. The public may participate via YouTube. I know there's directions on the town's website as to how to join. If anybody wishes to speak, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized by the chair. And state your name and any relationship you might have to the project before speaking. I also ask that everybody keep their device muted when you're not speaking, so you're not picked up by the recording or distracting. And with that, I will begin with tonight's continuances. Under notices of intent, we have Nantucket Islands Land Bank at 16 East Creek Road, continued until October 6th. I believe that's our only continuance right now. Oh, Jeff?
Sorry, really late, just before the meeting. Number 1, Brant Point Club LLC has requested a continuance to 10/6 as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jeff. So Brant Point Club LLC at 6, 8, and 8 North Beach Street and 4 Dolphin Court will continue until October 6th as well. That looks to be all our continuances tonight. So we'll start the meeting under public meeting, public comment on items not being heard this evening.
Oh, sorry, while we're waiting, madam.
Yeah.
Under amended orders, that number 1, Phillips trustee is also continued to 10/6.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so amended orders of conditions, Phillips trustee, 19 East Tristram's Ave, continued until October 6th as well. Seem to be having trouble toggling windows tonight, but I didn't notice any public comment at this point. So we will begin under notices of intent. We have Sunset House LLC at 15 Hollowell Lane, represented by Mark Ritz.
Good afternoon, Mark Ritz from Site Design, representing the applicants at 15 Hallowell. As you may recall from the last meeting, this is a request to repair an existing timber groin, which has basically the damage to the timber groin consists mainly of just wear and decay, and also to repair / replace the existing timber bulkhead by driving steel sheeting immediately in front of it, comparable to work that's been done on the abutting property to the east within the last 3 or so years, and comparable to what has been done on a number of other properties, both on Nantucket and throughout the Commonwealth. At the last meeting, I believe several commissioners had requested input from town council on the grandfathering status of the structure. We maintain that both the bulkhead and the groin are structures which predated the Wetlands Protection Act and bylaw regulations and are therefore grandfathered. So we were waiting for input on that, as well as waiting for input on a request from commissioners for an independent outside review. I will let Mr. Carlson speak to the status of those things because I'm not in the loop on that.
Thank you, Mark. Jeff, do you have any updates?
Sure. So we filed our request for legal services like we were supposed to, and have that stuff in, and it's been approved. It is under review from that end. We also sent it off to our regular third-party reviewer. Our first report from him, as you guys know, was completed for the Wisconsin project, and Greg hasn't finished the report on this one and is away for a little bit. I did take the time to speak to both Mass DEP and today spoke to our regional representative at Mass Coastal Zone Management about these projects and if they're seeing similar projects or how other commissions are handling these projects, and especially related to grandfathering. And really what we're seeing statewide a little bit, and Mr. McKenna, who I spoke to today, said that what they're seeing in these cases for these grandfathered structures is either something similar to this, where we're getting this steel sheeting driven in front of, or we've seen the occasional converting it from the vertical face to more of a slopestone revetment is something that they're seeing from time to time as well, where they hold the toe of the wall and slope that stone revetment back on some sites. So they're still maintaining a CES on there. DEP said that this is something that they typically see, and bulkheads that predate the act getting replaced by steel sheeting fairly commonly as far as they're concerned. But we can certainly wait for our independent review. Here's Mark. And our weigh-in from town council, but I think the age of the structure from staff's view is that it does predate the act.
Thank you, Jeff. Are there any commissioners' comments or questions either for Mark or Jeff? Linda?
I agree with the position of the applicant that they're grandfathered, they're not tied to a structure. They predate the enactment of that law, that bylaw. I don't know why we have to wait. That's just my feeling. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way. It's grandfathered, it's being maintained. Obviously, DEP has seen this before. This is not something that's totally out to lunch here. So I don't need to wait and make the applicant wait to get this done, because we're coming into an unsettled weather period. And I assume they want to get it done before that.
Thank you, Linda. Mike, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would concur with Linda's sentiment on that as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions from commissioners? Looks like no at this point. So I'll open this one up for public comment. So again, public comment on Sunset House LLC, 15 Hollowell Lane. Not noticing any public comment on Zoom. Why I can't navigate my YouTube tonight, but that's the way it's going.
There's
So
no comments there as well.
okay. So at this point, Jeff, do we have everything we would need to close?
We do have all the required information, yes.
Okay, so if there's no questions or comments from commissioners, is there a motion to close?
So moved.
Motion made by Linda. Is there a second? Seconded by Mike. So by roll vote, Beal. Oh, you're muted, Mark.
Sorry, I missed the first 10 minutes of the meeting, so I'm not going to be, I can't vote on this.
Okay. Engelborg,
Aye.
Arisman, I, Golding,
Aye.
Mizzarelli,
Aye.
Landowski,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
So that carries with Commissioner Beal, I guess, abstaining.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that moves us on to Boathouse Realty Trust at 52 Warren's Landing Road, represented by Mr. Leahy. And Mr. Leahy, you are muted, but you are welcome to present your project when you unmute.
Hello, you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. It's a simple project. I want to nourish the beach, about 50 feet of it. I have 100 feet. And part of it has eroded because of some inappropriate boat storage over a few winters, which killed the grass. It needs new sand and new grass.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have the, Jeff, do they have the pictures?
So here's the plan. Unfortunately, we don't have the pictures. If I can, I'll hop out. Do you have the
I gave them
pictures?
to you.
Yes.
Not in this, I can't get them to you now. No, I have them somewhere.
All right. Well, we'll try with this. I'll give a little help because Mr. Leahy came in and asked for some help that was there. So, along his property, there's a concrete retaining wall that fronts his house out at 52 Warren's Landing, and it's an old retaining wall. As you can see, it was in the mid 90s at the earliest. The wall is intact, but the sand that's in front of it that was covered with dune grass previously has washed away, and he's looking to put the sand back and plant the dune grass back where it was in front of the wall. So the wall is highlighted in green, if people can see that, and it's just right adjacent to the coastal beach. I'll try to track down the pictures. I don't know why they're not in here, but if you give me 1 second, I'll try to find them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from commissioners? Seth?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think before we would go to approve this, we would need some more specifics on the construction protocol. How is sand being delivered? Is any machinery being used? What are the volumes? Also, I don't believe there's anything about planting in the original submission, but now Mr. Leahy is talking about planting, so we would need a species list, planting plan, things like that. And I think I need that before I feel comfortable actually approving this.
Thank you, Seth. Any other questions or comments from commissioners?
We'll throw in really quickly too. We did get Natural Heritage had a couple questions that they just sent back this afternoon. I'm not even sure that Mr. Leahy may even received that from Natural Heritage yet. So they also had a couple questions that we'll need to resolve as well.
Mr. Leahy, have you seen the Natural Heritage letter?
I have not seen it.
Yeah.
What sort of things do they need?
They are. I'll forward you the letter when we get off. But they didn't send it out until 4:30 today. So literally just got it.
Oh, now I understand.
But we'll send that. So I think if there are questions, since Mr. Leahy has self-filed this with Seth's questions and that, Lisa and I will reach out to him tomorrow and get him put in the right direction to get those questions answered.
Yeah, that would be great. Because I think Seth mentioned it, but like grain size, matching that, and again, just a few more details would be important for us. So at this point, Mr. Leahy, I guess I should open up for public comment. Is there any public comment on 52 Warren's Landing Road? Looks like no. So Mr. Leahy, would you like to continue for 2 weeks to get these questions taken care of?
Sure.
Okay, so that would be our next meeting on October 6th.
Yeah. It may be that you'll have questions that won't be answered until I engage a contractor. But if we can avoid that being hobbled by that, I'll get in all the answers I can get.
Okay, that sounds great. And you always have the option of continuing again if you don't feel like you have the details for that date.
Okay.
Right. We'll reach out to you in the morning, Mr. Leahy, and we'll help you get that stuff put together.
Thanks very much.
Okay,
problem.
thank you. All right, so that moves us on to Good Now at 37 Massachusetts Avenue, Unit 1, represented by Brian Madden.
Thank you very much. Brian Madden from LEC Environmental, representing the applicants. Based off of the meeting, the last meeting, we've revised the plan. Here we go. Where previously we had the shed that was going to be refurbished in place and elevated away from the structure. basically in the footprint of it where it is currently. And then the utilities, we're gonna run basically through the dune to connect to that structure. So based on the comments we received at the last meeting, we are proposing to attach the shed to the east side of the dwelling, and reduce its square footage down to 60 square feet. So chopping off 10 square feet. Again, that will house the utilities. It'll be supported on pile supports. The grade elevation will be identical to the dwelling structure. So I believe that addresses what the commission was looking for. And again, the project will result in improvement over existing conditions and allow the dune to better function, expand and contract and promote the movement of sand both underneath the structure and around it. So with that, I'll turn it over to questions. And we did get the natural heritage determination letter as well. So I'll turn over to questions.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions or comments from commissioners? Brian, I do appreciate you guys kind of tweaking the plan a little bit to include the shed along the house.
No problem.
So if there are no questions or comments from commissioners, we'll open it up for public comment. Does not appear that we have public comment at this point. Jeff, do we have everything we would need to close?
Yes, you do.
Brian, would you like to close?
Please.
Is there a motion to close? Motion made by Linda, seconded by Joe. So by roll vote, Beal,
Aye.
Engelborg,
Aye.
Arisman, I, Golding,
Aye.
Mizzarelli,
Aye.
Landowski,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
All right, that carries unanimously. And that moves us on to Rabbit Run Road LLC at 26 Rabbit Run Road, also represented by Brian Madden.
Thank you very much. Brian Madden for the record. Okay to share my screen, Jeff? Thank you. There we go. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Thanks so much. So I wanted to walk everyone through the updates that we made based on the commissioner comments received last go around. And this was the original submitted plan we had included, but we added some dimensions here of what were being proposed previously that weren't on the prior set, but just to give you some orientation. So the proposed covered deck expansion was 16 feet 9 inches. And then the outer perimeter deck to be demolished is shown in that outer perimeter. We have proposed to reduce the expansion of the covered deck down to 10 feet and retain an open aired section of the existing deck. So a reduction in the order of 6 feet 9 inches in that covered porch. We're not changing the roof pitch or line of that structure. It's just going to be a de minimis bump out. I think I measured 210 linear feet between the structure and the coastal beach. So we believe that the proposed small expansion in this area will not result in an adverse impact to wildlife habitat, and an ample corridor will be maintained west of the structure, and would expect the commission to require any typical exterior lighting requirements that we see on these type of projects. But with that, I'll turn it over to questions and can stop to share if you'd like.
I think you can stop sharing. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from commissioners? Ian?
Yeah, so thank you, Brian. I appreciate the tweaks.
Thank you. Oh, and also to jump in, we did, based on Mike's comments previously, we are proposing to plant Tupelo and or sassafras in lieu of cedars to, hopefully give that a little bit more protection in terms of deer browsing. There are some cedars already on the property that will be retained that have matured and established, but we are proposing to make that substitution as well.
Thank you, Brian. Seth, I saw your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is about the cantilevered overhangs and deck. I believe we've seen a few of these come in before, and we've required them to maintain adequate spacing for rain infiltration, or to have, some way to funnel rain to the right places. So I'm going to be asking for that in order of conditions, but just wondering if the applicant would be okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of those areas that have overhangs or pitches, we are redirecting some of that stormwater or runoff to subsurface infiltration systems that we've shown on the plans. Some of those overhangs will have some like gravel, French drain type drainage systems to allow for that infiltration, to avoid any runoff potential closer towards the resource areas. But that condition is certainly acceptable.
Thank you, Brian. Any other questions or comments from commissioners? Looks like no, so we'll open it up for public comment. I do not see any public comment on YouTube. Jeff, do we have everything we would need to close?
Yes, you do.
Brian, would you like to close?
Please.
Is there a motion to close? Motion made by Mark, seconded by Mike. So by roll vote, Beal,
Aye.
Engelborg,
Aye.
Arisman, aye. Golding, excuse me.
Aye.
The alphabet's getting me today. Mizzarelli,
Aye.
Landowski,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
All right, that carries unanimously.
Thank you.
And that moves us on to Jeffrey H. Johnston Trust at 131 Walwinet Road, also represented by Brian Madden.
I have to recuse, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Linda.
Thank you very much, Brian Madden from LEC Environmental Consultants. This project was somewhat recently before you a couple years ago for installation of a driveway parking space off of the Hall Road on the west side. The house itself is a historic dwelling, and it's located entirely within coastal dune, barrier beach, map barrier beach, and flood zone. A portion of the structure, nearly half of it, is within an isolated land subject to flooding. There currently are a number of boardwalks that exist around the structure for access. The existing house is currently supported by an older concrete cinder block type foundation. And what we're proposing to do is simply elevate and reconstruct the foundation with a helical pier system. Due to the historic nature of the structure, it can only be elevated 4 feet, which doesn't necessarily get you above for flood zone elevation, but it is a significant improvement over existing conditions. What was previously approved, so the driveway parking area was constructed, and I submitted some photographs of what that currently looks like. The boardwalk, thanks, Jeff. The boardwalk, fiber grate boardwalk, has yet to be installed. We are proposing to extend that 11 linear feet. And right now, if you keep on scrolling down through the photos, that fourth photo shows a larger deck platform that is going to be removed. That's all within the vegetated wetland currently. And we're proposing to extend the fiber grade boardwalk so it connects directly to the stairs you see on the left side of that photograph. And then the boardwalk that extends further away on the side of the house where the dish is, that is all being proposed to be removed. There are no structural modifications to the dwelling itself. It's simply just elevating it and reconstructing the foundation on those helical piers. The only new elements really are some stairs that basically overlap with existing boardwalks. But cumulatively, we are proposing to remove 487 square feet of at-grade decking and or boardwalk. And those areas will be restored in kind. Now, given the sensitive resource areas, I wanted to walk everyone through the construction methodology because I think that's important, and we provided a fair amount of detail within the notice of intent. So site access is obviously limited here. There's no frontage per se off of Wawinnet Road. To the east, there is a heavily vegetated area between the property and Wawinnet Road. There are mature trees, at least mature for dune trees, that are located to the east. We've attempted to obtain access authorization from the neighbor to the north, and that has been unanswered. So really the only means of access is through the driveway parking spot. And that will result in temporary alteration within the vegetated wetland and the coastal dune. But when all is said and done, there'll be a significant improvement over existing conditions through the elevated foundation and then the removal of the boardwalk and decking at grade, and then the restoration activity to revegetate those areas. But so construction equipment's going to come in from the driveway. We are proposing to place swamp mat style planking over the resource area, and then basically relocate that, reposition it as equipment moves in. So basically you're avoiding direct wheel to ground contact that could cause additional disturbance when the vehicle is turning or moving around a little bit. Basically that provides the buffer to minimize any ground root disturbance to the vegetation. And it's something you commonly see on utility right-of-way projects, but also, you know, I've seen a fair amount on like airport expansion type projects where there's a fair amount of tree clearing activity within resource areas, vegetated wetlands. Those planks are going to be repositioned, moved as the equipment goes along. Any of the existing mature shrubs around the perimeter of the dwelling will be minimized to the greatest extent. But you can see there's very limited room to work with here. We are proposing to relocate all the equipment so there's no overnight storage within the resource area. And we do have some additional access, parking access on an offsite property within someone's driveway. But erosion control barriers will be installed around the limits of work. And we are proposing to do construction monitoring and reporting to the commission, and then provide adequate restoration of those temporary disturbed areas, proposing to revegetate the vegetated wetlands with groundsel tree and bayberry, and an American beach grass within the coastal dune. I think we had also spec'd out switchgrass within some areas as well. But at the end of the day, we are proposing to enhance the dune form and function and restoration of the IVW, and the structure itself will be more coastal resilient and more adequately serve interests related to flood control and storm damage prevention. And I'd be happy to answer any questions based off of the project.
Thank you, Brian. Great. Ian, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Ashley. So, Brian, if it's being lifted 4 feet, then the walkway is going to have a rail along it, and I believe, unless you could modify the design slightly, so where the boardwalk, the fiber grate decking approaches the existing stairs, you could have stairs going up so that the rest of the fiber grate decking wouldn't have a rail to the parking lot. Is that something you would consider?
Exactly. And sorry, I didn't clarify that specifically, but that's exactly what's being proposed. The boardwalk itself is only going to be 12 to 18 inches off the grade. And we did extend the set of stairs that overlaps onto that decking at grade. So there's a little extension of stairs there, and that may not be abundantly clear on the site plan, but we are intending to have the boardwalk be at that 12 to 18 inches, so we don't have any railings and or any requirement there.
Yeah, I guess I couldn't really figure that out from the drawing, so.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now and I can see why. But yeah, we are minimally extending those stairs. So we're not jacking up that boardwalk any higher than it needs to be.
So you don't mind if we provision the orders of conditions as such?
Yep, nope, that's
Great.
entirely
Thank
reasonable.
you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mike, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Brian, just a quick question. Something I don't know, but when you install a helical pier, do they do that with an excavator, like just twist the head down, or how are those typically installed?
That is my understanding. Don may be able to provide a little bit more insight on that.
Yeah, that it'll be an attachment on a bobcat that drills them in. So that will be, a tracked bobcat machine.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seth?
Thank you, Madam Chair. To Mr. Madden, do you have an estimate of how long the construction will take? And I was also wondering, the mats you're talking about, will they be removed nightly as well with the rest of the equipment?
To answer your second question first, yes, that is the intent. They can be stockpiled in the driveway. But it would, to avoid any long-term damage to the root systems, we would propose to remove those daily. And again, the whole area wouldn't be covered with mats. They'd be kind of moved around. So you're limiting the amount applied each day. And so I did ask the question on duration, and it will take several months, but it's not anticipated to, be an overly extended project, because we're not doing anything with the house itself. It's just straight lifting. There was some proposals to do a lot of, jerry rigging of the structure itself, but it's more streamlined, that we're just simply raising it up, and the intent is to minimize that duration as much as possible.
Any other questions or comments from commissioners? Mark?
Yes, thank you, Ashley. A question for Don Bracken. Don, if you're going to be using a bobcat with a device on the front of it, will you get under the house when you're doing this? Will you go up 8 feet and then drive under it, or how will you get the helical piles in the ground?
Yeah, the house will have to be lifted high enough to get above the Bobcat, so the Bobcat can get underneath it and drill the helical piles. So it will
Thank
be
you.
lifted higher and then drop down to that 4 feet.
All right, any other questions or comments from commissioners? If not, I'll open it up for public comment. Does not appear that we have any public comment at this point. Jeff, are we waiting on anything or can we close? We're not.
You guys are all set on this one.
Perfect. Brian, would you like to close?
Yes, please.
Is there a motion to close?
Move to close.
Motion made by Ian. Is there a second? Seconded by Mark. So by roll vote, Beal,
Aye.
Engelborg,
Aye.
Arisman, I, Golding. Oh, I couldn't hear you, Ian.
Aye.
Oh, perfect. Sorry.
That's all right.
Mizzarelli,
Aye.
Plandowski.
Aye.
All right, that carries with Commissioner Williams recused.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So,
And that moves us on to amended orders of conditions. We have Lloyd Realty LLC at 7 Heather Lane, represented by Paul Santos.
Thank you. Paul Santos with Nantucket Surveyors on behalf of the property owner, 7 Heather Lane LLC. This is an amended order of conditions request for a property that a order of conditions was issued in November 3rd of 2021 for the construction of a dwelling with decks, patio, landscape walls, and hardscaping with associated grading, landscaping, and utilities within the buffer zone to a coastal bank. So essentially what we are doing is supplementing the approved plan with a plan that has been finally approved for building size and hardscape through the HDC. The reason I've filed this as an amended order as opposed to a minor modification is there has been added a 5.5 by 6.5 in-ground spa outside of the 50-foot setback, but that was not depicted on the original application. Within this request, the bluestone patio that was previously approved, which was approximately 57 feet in length, has been reduced in width by approximately 8 feet. So we have increased the setback to the 25-foot wetland buffer from a minimum of what was previously 7 to now 15 feet. So there's actually been a reduction in the previously approved bluestone patio area within the area between the 25 and 50. But for the most part, it's the intent here is to append the order with the more accurate dwelling configuration and hardscape component within the Concom's jurisdiction. Again, the reason I filed the amended order is because the spa was not shown on the original order of conditions. It is outside of the 50-foot setback, and there are still no waivers required for the application. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Thank you, Paul. Any questions or comments from commissioners? Seth?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd ask that when we do this amendment, that we just include the traditional spa/pool conditions, since we have the ability to do that within the amendment process.
Thank you, Seth. I think that would be a great idea. And Paul, I appreciate you filing an amendment so that we can do that. Any other questions or comments? I'll do a quick check to see if there's public comment. Also looks like no. Jeff, do we have everything we would need to issue the amended order and include the spa conditions?
You do.
All right. Paul, I'm assuming you'd like us to issue tonight?
I would, thank you.
All right, is there a motion? Seth is making the
moved.
motion.
Second.
Give Linda the second. So by roll vote, Beal,
Aye.
Engelborg,
Aye.
Arisman, I, Golding,
Aye.
Mizzarelli,
Aye.
Plandowski,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
All right, that carries unanimously. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
And that moves us on to minor modifications. We have EPR RGH LLC at 119 Eel Point Road, represented by Paul Santos.
And Madam Chair, I'm recused from this.
Perfect. Thank you, Seth.
Thank you. This is, again, Paul Santos with Nantucket Surveyors, on behalf of the property owner and applicant EPR RGH LLC for a property located at 119 Eel Point Road. This is a minor modification request for the just relocation on the site of a set of aluminum beach stairs that was previously approved by the commission. The stairs have been essentially moved from the closest to the westerly boundary line, more to the center of the property, approximately 45 feet. The basic component of the original application is still the same. It is a set of aluminum stairs with a wooden platform and a lower section of stairs that could be seasonally removed at the bottom of the coastal bank. So it's essentially the same components. It's just been shifted 45 feet to the east, and it's now more centered on the lot itself. Again, happy to answer any questions that you may have with regard. I did file this as a minor mod only because it's essentially the same components. We've just shifted them on the property, and happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Paul. Ian, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Paul, bear with me. It's probably a stupid question, but in the final plan, you're going to remove the proposed stairs on the left as you show in the drawing, because right now you have two proposed stairs.
That's a good point. Yes, I will amend the plan to show those stairs to be previously approved, not to be constructed. It's probably a better
Okay.
note.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And I had a question, not about the second stairs, but where the new stairs line up, it looks like they're going to meet right up to American beach grass planting that's proposed. Are you guys just going to kind of shift kind of the entry point there?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that'll be shifted actually, just to kind of yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Any other questions or comments? Looks like no. Jeff, do we have everything we need to issue the minor mod?
Yes, you do.
Move to issue.
All right, motion made by Ian, seconded by Mark. So by roll vote, Beal,
Aye.
Arisman, aye, Golding,
Aye.
Mizzarelli,
Aye.
Landowski,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
All right, that carries with Commissioner Engelborg recused.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And that moves us on to certificates of compliance. We have 12 North Road Trust at 12 North Road. Jeff, are you taking this one?
Yes, Seth was going to, but doesn't have a good connection, so I'm gonna take this one off.
Okay, perfect.
He emailed me. So let me just rotate the plan. You guys may remember this. This was the one that was originally tied to the timber bulkhead that had gotten backfilled with construction debris and rocks and concrete and bricks. For those around the commission at the time. I don't know if anyone remembers that but me. Let me turn the plan. And this was kind of the follow-up project to that stuff getting removed. Of course, the next plan's the same way. So this was one where instead of having that large gap behind the bulkhead that got repaired, is they constructed the two sand-filled core envelopes that run along the bottom, and then did some plantings along the bank. I'm also having trouble with the alphabet tonight. Along the bank with some American beach grass and some coastal shrubs, and have been maintaining those now since about 2018. And I don't know why people can't put stuff in the same direction. So it's a little easier to see here. So this was the area before that was the partial like rubble of the green. This was the sand filled tubes and the plantings. And then they included a little detail here of the core envelopes and the sand. All the plantings in, they estimated that they're over 75% in place and healthy in all of the shrubs. And I'll put the planting list up because I think they're interesting for what's there. We actually think that that planting success is somewhat higher than that, depending upon how you look and sample, but it looks good. It's in compliance. They've completed all the reports up to this point, and I think we feel comfortable with issuing their certificate of compliance. Sorry, that was a really long-winded certificate of compliance, but it was a busy project.
No, thank you, Jeff. I think those of us who saw the original enforcement for this property, it's a tough one to forget. So I'm glad we're compliant now.
Yeah, and I think the nice part is for the future, right? It's all vegetated and covered. Even the opportunity for craziness, I mean, jinxed myself probably now, is there's not that same void and issue that there was before. So I think that this is one where all in all, the plants and the work that was done has created a better situation than what was originally there.
Yes. Well, thank you, Jeff. Any questions or comments from commissioners? If not, would somebody like to make a motion to issue the cert? Motion made by Mike, seconded by Joe. So by roll vote, Beal,
Aye.
Engelborg,
Aye.
Arisman, I, Golding,
Aye.
Mizzarelli,
Aye.
Plandowski,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
All right, that carries unanimously. And that moves us on to 11 Holbert Avenue LLC at 11 Holbert Ave.
All right, I'll take this one too, because I have it up. If Don wants to chime in, he can, but I don't
I
think
think he
needs to.
left.
Well, then I'll take it for him. So this was one, if you guys remember, we permitted the relocation of two buildings off of Sandy Drive, which is kind of across the street from here, onto this lot. Most of the work was just in the flood zone. As you can see, the blue line was the 100-foot buffer to the coastal dune. So only the porch and stairs intruded into that section. This dwelling in the back was originally there and wasn't modified for part of the project. So the two buildings are in and constructed. All of the grades remain the same. I think we feel comfortable in recommending issuing the certificate of compliance.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions or comments from commissioners? If not, would somebody like to make a motion to issue the cert? Motion made by Linda. Is there a second? Seconded by Mike. So by roll vote, Beal,
Aye.
Engelborg,
Aye.
Arisman, I, Golding,
Aye.
Mizzarelli,
Aye.
Plandowski,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
All right, that carries unanimously. And that moves us on to orders of conditions. I know Jeff emailed these out earlier, but we'll start with Murphy Foundler. I keep getting that one wrong, at 9 Massachusetts Avenue. Every
Pretty
time.
good. It's a tricky last name. So we closed this one last time. This was for the elevated walkway on 9 Massachusetts Avenue. So there's a couple findings that you guys had requested last time, so I'll just walk you through them real quickly. The first one is this number 3, that the commission finds that by using the fiber grate surface to increase the light penetration to the existing marsh will allow the walkway to not meet the recommended 1.5-to-1 ratio of height off of the marsh. By allowing the slight lowering of the walkway, it will not require a railing and can be monitored for any impacts. And then tied to that is number 4, that the commission finds that to maximize wildlife habitat protection and wetland scenic views, no handrail, guardrail, or cable is permitted by this form.
Aye.
Thank you, Jeff. Ian, I see your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Ashley. So Jeff,
Yes, sir.
But rather than will allow, how would you consider the word, using the word necessitate?
So it would read, increased leverage into the existing marsh will necessitate.
Yeah. Because it's not allowing, well, all right, whatever. Maybe I'm being very English because of the funeral last week.
Oh, come on.
Any other questions or comments? Jeff, what do you're going back and forth on that one?
I like the word allow better. But
Okay, I defer to your,
because I feel like necessitate to me means more that it demands that it's lower, and allow is it enabled you guys to permit it outside of the recommendations.
the difference between English and American English.
Jolly good comment though, Ian.
Yes, I like the thought behind it.
Thank you, Laura.
Any other questions, comments, amendments? And if not, would somebody like to make a motion to approve as drafted?
Sure.
I'm gonna give the motion to Mark because he beat y'all with his hand, and then I'll give you the second, Ian.
Okay.
So by roll vote, Beal,
Aye.
Engelborg,
Aye.
Ericksman, I, Golding,
Aye.
Mizzarelli.
Dean,
Oh, sorry about that. I forgot. Plandowski,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
All right, so that carries with Commissioner Mizzarelli. Are you recused from that one or abstaining? Recused. Perfect. Sorry, I forgot that one again. So that moves us on now to Stephen L. Cohen, trustee at 6 and 11 Hollowell Lane.
I do have the plan for this one if people want to see it again, but as a reminder, this was the property on Hallowell that was the repair of the singular groin. There's no bulkhead to it. It's just the groin to the dune for what's there. So the findings are very similar where we have this number 2, the commission finds that given historic permits and conditions, the repair replacement of the groin in kind with no expansion or modification qualifies as a pre-existing use. And then it does qualify as a limited coastal project under 310 CMR. That's not really a question, it just does. We have our normal kind of conditions for projects like this for fueling outside of 50 feet, minimizing sedimentation. And then I started including some of the ones that we put on 18 Washing Pond Road for the groins, because I think it's interesting to track over time to require that kind of photo monitoring of what the beach looks like related to that groin every couple months, a quarterly report, and then kind of an evaluation requirement here that we're trying to see if sand is properly collecting and depositing in between the groins in that system. And if it's not, to come in and discuss how to fix that or to change the system. If that makes some sense.
Thank you, Jeff. Seth, I saw your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In relation to 23, I like that, but I'd request that we have a timeline documenting accumulation. Maybe if it doesn't do it for a few surveys in a row. Otherwise, in a dynamic coastal system, it could not accumulate for years, but still might accumulate at some point.
Thank you.
What's your suggestion?
How about 3 consecutive surveys? That would be half a year.
Thank you, Seth. What does everybody think about that? Good?
Yeah.
All right.
All
right.
Any,
So that condition now reads just really quickly, Ashley, sorry. It says should sand not accumulate for 3 consecutive surveys between the groins or adjacent to the groins as shown through the reporting, the applicant shall appear before the commission to discuss potential remedies of the system not functioning as designed.
Thank you, Jeff. I think that sounds great. Any other questions, comments, amendments? Seth, are you good with that?
Yes.
So if there aren't any other amendments, would somebody like to make a motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
Motion made by Linda. Is there a second? Seconded by Joe. So by roll vote, Beal,
Aye.
Engelborg,
Aye.
Arisman, I, Golding,
Aye.
Mizzarelli,
Aye.
Landowski,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Right, that carries unanimously. And that moves us on to, well, Jeff, do you want us to discuss Sunset House at 15 Hollowell?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just taking some notes.
So I know I'm still a little bit concerned about what the old structure, the bulkhead might contain as far as like potential creosote chemicals. So I don't know if there's some sort of testing we can require. I know we talked about that at the last meeting. But that does concern me a little bit. Does anybody else have any thoughts on this one? Seth?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't feel comfortable with this project and plan to vote opposed if we draft a positive order, because I don't think the alternatives analysis for other solutions has been met. The burden of proof is on the applicant and they haven't met that burden of proof. Even today with Jeff's comments about, CCM seeing people converting from bulkhead to revetment, that's another solution. Is it an ideal solution? Probably not, in my opinion, but it shows that it is highly possible. And there's a permitted history of people using alternatives to deal with bulkhead replacement. And for the applicant to claim that there's no ability to do that, I just think is factually doesn't meet the burden of proof factually. So I'm not going to be voting in favor of this project.
Thank you, Seth. Linda?
What kind of materials testing would you want? Because I don't have a problem including that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what would capture like creosote leaching. But I do worry about that being down there.
Well, if the concern actually is specific to creosote or kind of those old chemicals associated with bulkhead installations and things,
Yeah.
I'm sure in the 2 weeks to put this together, I can pull together what that testing would look like and what it would be to include a condition for that. If you're just concerned about any chemicals that may be associated with the previous bulkhead system and how to test for that, I think we can solve that for the draft order.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Trying to get too specific today. Like,
Yeah, I just
phone a friend and they'll know what we're looking for.
yeah, that'll save us time. So I just worry about that stuff being back there. But then I think, Jeff, a lot of the conditions for 6 and 11 Hollowell would transfer over.
Yeah, if it would be helpful for these steel bulkheads, we've also been including some provisions on what would be allowable maintenance underneath that. If you guys remember the stuff that we did on Easy Street, and actually on Holbert too, there's provisions for, how often the face of those can be treated if they need to be maintained, the actual metal. So we'll include those two, kind of our standard provisions there, but just making sure that there weren't any additional concerns like the creosote testing.
Well, thank you, Jeff. If you think you have all you need there.
Well, unless anyone else has anything, certainly.
Mark?
Yes, thank you. Actually, no, I would just concur with Seth that I don't think that we had a fair hearing on the issues of alternative solutions to this problem. We didn't hear them, didn't get them. And I think I would want to, well, I guess vote against this until we have those answers. But thank you, actually.
Thank you, Mark. Seth?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With respect, if I may, is there anyone else that feels that way? Because, if one or two more people do, then Jeff might have to write two separate orders.
Ian?
Yes, I mean, I definitely have reservations.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna lie, it might be problematic, Jeff, because I will not be at the next meeting. So I know I emailed you about. So we might be at a split.
And I'll be in New Hampshire, but last year when I was in New Hampshire, I was able to get on, but we have stuff in the afternoon and stuff that night. So it'll be somewhere in between there. I think I was on from 5 to 7 last year.
Well, it's all right. Well, we can get a draft together. I know we have our rough scheduled Sconset annual report that we could tack a draft of this onto. We can get it done quicker. Or we can set something else up, or we can also talk to the applicant about if they're willing to let that be pushed to have the full board for the vote on the order. We can work out the logistics for sure.
Okay. Joe?
Yes, also, as I had noted before, I will not be here for the next meeting.
Okay.
I will call in from New Hampshire.
All right, so we'll have to coordinate that. Seth?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, and without asking Jeff to do unnecessary work, I mean, I guess we can try to schedule something, but it sounds like at least 3 people are hesitant about this, no matter what the date we talk about it is. So I would ask that you write both orders, positive and negative, please.
Okay. That's not a problem.
Yeah, and then I think it probably would be good if possible to try and put this on September 29th, the Sconset meeting, just so we don't get stuck.
What time is that meeting, Madam Chair, on the 29th?
Jeff?
Same time, 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Try not to make it too tricky.
All right. So, I don't think we cleared that one up for you, Jeff, but I think you have all we have.
Sometimes it happens.
All right, so that'll move us on to Good Now at 37 Massachusetts Avenue, Unit 1. We don't have we do have an order for this one. Sorry.
Where are we now, Rabbit Run?
No, this
we're
is-
Good Now, the 37
Now,
staff.
okay.
Yeah, I did draft one for this one, so this was the project. The big question last time was what was gonna happen with the shed. So when they put the plan in, I went ahead and drafted it, even though I normally don't. I didn't really have any fancy conditions. It's our normal fill conditions. I don't know why they would need fill on this site. It's a dune, but it's there. And other than that, I couldn't really think of anything. But happy for suggestions.
Thank you, Jeff. Any comments, questions, amendments? Looks like no. So would somebody like to make a motion to issue as drafted?
So moved.
Motion made by Linda. Is there a second? Seconded by Mike. So by roll vote, Beal,
Muted.
oh yeah, you might be having technical problems. Engelborg,
Aye.
Arisman, I. Golding,
Aye.
Mizzarelli,
Aye.
Klangowski,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Aye, a little late.
Mark's given us an aye as well. Thank you. So that carries unanimously. And that moves us on to discuss Rabbit Run Road 1 LLC at 26 Rabbit Run Road for any potential findings or conditions for Jeff. Any thoughts from commissioners? Seth?
Yeah, just to restate the request for the adequate cantilever deck spacing and infiltration.
Thank you, Seth. And Jeff, I think it's probably pretty standard at this point, but maybe a survivability or photo monitoring of the planting.
That was a good suggestion to switch them to non-browsable stuff.
The deer are ruthless on this
Yeah,
island.
the cedar
They're
trees
even,
they would never get a
eating
chance to
pitch
go.
pines. They're eating pitch pines. I mean, they're just relentless.
Yeah. All right, if there aren't any other thoughts on this one, we'll move on to Jeffrey H. Johnston Trust at 131 Walwinet. Jeff, were you asking to wait?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Did we, Madam Chairman, did we actually vote on Rabbit Run?
No, I haven't
we don't
drafted
have to
anything
vote.
for it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll vote next time. Any thoughts on the Johnston Trust project? That's where they were lifting the house. Seth?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just making sure in the order we include the removal of the mats and the equipment nightly.
Yes, thank you, Seth.
Yeah, that was a good idea, Seth. If they get left down, it's not going to take much to wipe out roots.
Yeah.
And there's the rail provision, no handrail.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I think Jeff, again, you already put this in there usually, but survivability of the plants and just replanting should there be damage.
Yes.
All right, so if we're feeling good on that one, we'll move on to extension of orders. We have, Jeff?
Can I ask just one quick question? Is anyone opposed, if I draft all of those in advance and have them all ready for the meeting next 29th, since we'll have the full board for that meeting or as many as possible, to just put all of these on the agenda and just try to knock them all out, so we're not doing them on the 6th.
Sure.
I think that's a good idea.
So, yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Jeff. Sorry to add more on short notice for you.
It's a week, man. That is long notice these days.
He lives for this.
Yeah. All right, so that moves us on to extension of orders. We have 37 Starbuck LLC at 37 Starbuck Road. I know Paul Santos is on. You're gonna present, or Beth, you have information?
I'll defer to my colleague, Paul.
Okay, thank you. Paul Santos on behalf of the property owner and applicant. This is an extension request for 2 years. The order is due to expire on November 13th of 2022. This is in a building at 37 Starbuck that's being relocated off of the eroding bank. HDC approvals have been obtained. The building has been elevated and it's going to be moved here in short order, but we're asking for a 2-year extension on the order of conditions. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Paul. Seth?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Paul, for the timely request. And with that, I would move to issue the 2 1-year extensions.
Right, so Seth made the motion. It looks like Mark is giving the second. So by roll vote, Beal,
Aye.
Engelborg,
Aye.
Arisman, I, Golding,
Aye.
Mizzarelli,
I,
Landowski,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
All right, that carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And that moves us on to other business, approval of minutes. Thank you, Terry, as always, for the minutes. I'm wondering if anybody saw anything that needs amending, or if somebody would like to make a motion to approve as drafted.
So moved.
So Linda made the motion. Is there a second? Seconded by Mike. So by roll vote, Beal,
Aye.
Engelborg,
Aye.
Arisman, I, Golding,
Aye.
Mizzarelli,
I,
Landowski,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Right, carries unanimously. And then we have the Pocomo monitoring report that was in our packet.
So real quickly, we also had a separate request that we've been dealing with. They've asked to continue that request about the changing names on orders and dealing with that. They're working out their issues internally with everybody. So Art is here if people have questions on the report on the actual project. But unless people have questions, our typical practice is just to acknowledge that we received that required monitoring report and go from there.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you for the well done monitoring report. I was wondering about that other Pocomo issue. Have we heard a response from town council on that?
So yeah, we've talked about it, and it's a really odd request to, especially on an order where it's there. We've actually had to kick that question to DEP because no one has seen or heard of it really before or clear for that. So we're waiting to get a response from them. We're hopeful and kind of talking to both sides involved there that it seems like they're on a path to resolution internally before it has to come to discussion to the board. So we are all hopeful that they managed to solve that, and they've essentially asked to put it off for till the second meeting in October at the soonest. But hopefully they get it resolved themselves and we don't have to get involved in a group of homeowner dispute if we don't need to.
Yeah, that would be the best outcome possible, I think.
It's not every day when you stump multiple attorneys and folks at DEP about a request to do something. So
yeah,
I'm actually excited to see how it plays out because it's such an odd duck. But we'll see.
Good. We'll wait on that one. All right, so that moves us to discussion of regulatory update. I know we keep kind of pushing this one along. It would be nice to get something scheduled. Jeff, what is October 13th looking like for commissioners?
I don't think
Concom.
I thought-
Planning board. Remember, the planning board gets shoved to Thursdays because Monday is a holiday. Are we talking about Wednesday or Thursday that week?
It's a Thursday. I think that at this point, because I actually would have to do a truncated meeting, we just need to set it and get some sort of quorum and get this moving.
Because
Because
that meeting starts at 4 and I've got stuff on that planning board meeting.
okay,
do we want to shoot for October 20th? We have a 3-week gap in October.
sure. Let's schedule it for the 20th then. I just want to get it down. Yes, Ian?
I'm going to be out of the country. So it's my 75th birthday on the 21st, and we're going out for a few weeks. So what can I do? You know, at this point, you have to celebrate them occasionally.
Yes.
Well, not to be the party pooper for it. Why don't, because we still have to have the public hearing on it. This is just to go through the
Yeah.
changes and then to set a date for a public hearing or to decide that we're going to send it to council. So if it's all right, we can still maybe have it that date just to get progress on it and make sure that we're good for kind of a draft to go to council. And then if there are commissioner comments or changes later, we can always make those, but
Are we still talking the 20th?
the 20th.
Okay.
I just know that we have a hard time outside of regular meeting dates, getting everyone scheduled. And
would that be the typical like 5 o'clock window or?
Yeah. Just trying not to let,
I have a tree advisory committee meeting that day, but they only last about 20 minutes these days.
well, we can always alter the time too. I'm just trying to avoid perfection being the hindrance to progress.
Right, and I think if we can get a quorum to just get it going, and then whatever draft we go through and agree on can be sent to everyone, even if they're not there, to then be ready for the public hearing. I'm just, I am worried that we can't set a date. So I think we should set the 20th. Seth, I saw your hand up.
Yes, I would request that we do that meeting in person if possible.
Yes, yes, that's what we had talked about.
Madam Chairman, through you to Jeff, why do we have a 3-week gap in, I'm just trying to set up October. Why do we have a 3-week gap in October?
We have a 3-week gap in October because we're setting up for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And because we have that 21-day requirement to open filings, and
Right.
once we close stuff, we kind of have to manage that gap a little bit. And unless people wanted to meet on, like, you know, Thanksgiving Day, we had to
Well,
adjust the
yeah.
schedule. So
Rather not.
happens from time to time.
Okay.
Well, so I guess I'm puzzled, because I've been in the process now for 11 years. And somehow I don't see a reason why a meeting that clashes with Linda, that should take precedence of me being away, especially since I have a number of inputs on this, including about the Munsell.
Yes, Ian, I realize that. I as well have a little trouble with the 13th. I have parent teacher, so I could only come for a little bit. I just want to set a date. That's it.
All right. I
Take
that
so
back
I think that, that's where we are years later.
And just so you know, Madam Chair, that we would be overlapping. I don't think they do 2 Zoom meetings at one time of regulatory boards. So the planning board would be running at the same time.
Well,
On
we're
Zoom.
going to be in person, and I don't know that it would be broadcast live for this
Oh, the
meeting.
20th is in person? Okay,
Yes.
put that down. Okay,
I'll send out reminders.
Yeah.
It'll be available regardless of where we go, as long as it's a town meeting space. It'll make it up onto YouTube at some point.
all right, because planning board is definitely, no matter what we do, is still online like we are.
Yep.
Okay.
So we will take care of the logistics to make sure that we are everywhere we need to be.
Yeah, and Ian, I apologize. I
No,
don't know
that's-
any other way to get it off the ground.
Yeah, it's living proof why I need to step down from boards at this point. I seem to be getting more and more irascible. So I apologize to my fellow members here.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's all right. You've invested a lot, and I would feel the same way if I were you. So I
That's
do
very
apologize.
tactful of you, actually.
And like, it's important to remember too, that this is the first one. It's not the last one. So
Yeah,
lots of time for input still, but we've got to start making progress. I personally think.
Thank you.
All right, so that one's at least on there. Then we have enforcement actions, potential enforcement actions.
So just a quick update on our friends at Brock's Court. That one did get sent out. We're just waiting on all of the stuff to come back, and then the clock starts ticking on them. I did send, the old order had some provisions in it about some retroactive punitive action in the previous order. So I sent that off to get an opinion on, to see if, based upon this, if those are active or should be acted upon, or if they are okay to be acted on, since we've had such a repetitive history here. So we'll get that all squared away for when we discuss it. But I just wanted to let people know that that's what's happening there.
Thank you, Jeff. Are there any questions for Jeff on this one? Looks like no. So that brings us to reports. We have crack.
Nothing to report.
All right, CPC.
Yes, we did meet. We spent a lot of money previously authorized. We spent a lot of time trying to figure out a date to have the interviews for the new applications. And we have about 8 applications to read that are like that. So we're about to enter the interview stage of our CPC grants.
Very good. Good luck to you. NP and EDC?
Yes, we met on Monday, and the most important thing for this board is there was a discussion of the Martha's Vineyard Climate Action Plan that they just completed in 2022. This is a multi-year process, and it goes over 6 focus areas related to climate change, and it's a very well done document. So I would recommend everybody go to the NP and EDC archive and pull the file and read it. It is lengthy, I think about 90 pages, but it's worth it. And I believe Crack is also going to be talking about this. And at NP and EDC, we have decided, or I don't know about decided, we've had some preliminary discussion about making this an important planning priority moving forward. So expect to see some movement on a Nantucket climate action plan.
Thank you, Seth. That's very exciting news. We need that. All right, so that moves us on to commissioners' comments.
Just my usual comment. Very well run meeting. I just wish all my meetings were this well run.
Oh, thank you.
They're not, distinctly not. These are great.
Well, you guys are better than teenagers to manage for the most part. So, all right. Any commissioners' comments? Huh?
I'm not sure what that means. We're better than teenagers.
I mean, that's what I'm dealing with all day. So,
Well, some of us are entering our second childhood. So
there we go.
Oh, please, Linda.
I don't want to jinx us, but it looks like we might even finish up within an hour and a half.
I know, a miracle that this teacher needed tonight. So, any other commissioners' comments? Looks like no. Jeff, do you have any administrator staff reports?
I'll let someone make the motion if they want to. We'll make Mike and Ashley's dream come true.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right. Linda made the motion. Is there a second? Seconded by Mike. So by roll vote, I think we lost Mark even. So Engelborg,
Aye.
Arisman, aye. Golding,
Aye.
Mizzarelli,
Aye.
Landowski,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
All right, that carries, and we've already lost Commissioner Beal off this. So I hope everybody has a great night.
You
Thank
too.
you.
You too.
Stay dry.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Night.